The nation's largest union today was taken to court on accusations that it is controlled by the mob. The government of the United States will try to prove what has been suspected and denied for years, that the Teamsters union is corrupt, its leadership crooked, and its mafia connections deep. CBS News correspondent Harry Smith reports on the case and its importance.
The nation's largest trade union got hit by a truck today. The Justice Department moved to wipe the mob out of the Teamsters once and for all.
Today, the United States government is bringing a lawsuit to attack and to reverse a major American scandal, organized crime's alliance with the Teamsters.
Armed with more than 300 criminal convictions of Teamster officials and mob members over the last 18 years, the Justice Department is suing to get the top national union officials thrown out of office.
We shall win this fight as we have won all others. We will not stop until we prove this action for what it is, a shameful attempt to destroy a democratic union.
The suit reads like a who's who of union brass and crime bosses, including Teamsters president Jackie Presser and members of the Genovese and Lucchese crime families. If the suit works, a court-appointed trustee would take over control of the union until free elections could be held. That's touched off a firestorm of protest from the rank and file to Washington.
The majority of all the Teamsters wouldn't like it being taken over by the federal government.
I think it's outrageous.
I think it flies in the face of democratic principles, and it sets a very bad precedent. And I think it's very harmful for the trade union movement in America.
Government officials disagree.
It is, in fact, designed to give the members of the Teamsters what they deserve, and that is a union that represents them rather than organized crime.
Since the 1950s, the government has been trying to break organized crime's grip on the Teamsters. President Jimmy Hoffa was convicted of criminal activity, as was Roy Williams. An indictment is pending against current President Jackie Presser.
The Teamsters today are thoroughly rotten to the core. The only thing that will change that is a government-ordered takeover of that leadership.
But Justice Department officials insist the government is not trying to take over the Teamsters. They're just trying to take the mob out of the driver's seat. Harry Smith, CBS News, New York.
A jogger murdered in New York Central Park. A little girl gunned down in her family's car in Los Angeles. Crimes like these are terrifying, partly because they seem to erupt out of nowhere. But crime does not come out of nowhere. And some who study it say the worst is yet to come. Correspondent Wyatt Andrews has been looking into the wave of the future for tonight's Eye on America.
Watch closely as Hispanic gang violence erupts in East Los Angeles. A local news crew captured this while staking out a gang hangout. This young man is firing his gun at a car loaded with kids. The police arrive, but fearing they are outgunned, retreat to call for backup. Meanwhile, one boy being pursued is kicked, beaten, and then is shot at.
Somebody's down over there.
It's a rare and degrading snapshot of life in the inner city, and it happens every day.
There's a gun. You can see a gun right there.
More and more children have guns. They say violent crime is down overall, but not for teenagers. In the last decade, the murder rate for young black males has tripled. It's doubled for young whites, and by all accounts, it won't soon improve.
The really bad news is that the worst is yet to come.
James Fox, a Northeastern University criminologist, is raising an alarm. There are now 39 million American children under 11 years old, and the majority, Fox says, do not have full-time adult supervision. It's the recipe for a coming crime wave.
I'm predicting that by the year 2005, we may very well have a bloodbath of teenage violence.
They haven't seen anything.
Fox's vision is already reality for Lorraine Rampersad, a single mom raising an 11-year-old daughter in the Bronx. She's afraid of wholly unsupervised 6 to 10-year-old kids running rampant.
No matter what I teach my daughter, there are 10 to 20 kids out there that are ready to turn her around, and I cannot allow that.
So if everybody already knows this new crime wave is coming, everybody from the people in these fearful neighborhoods to a worried federal government, the question is, what should be done about it? Some of the ideas already out there are provocative.
I think we need literally hundreds of thousands, probably 500,000 new police officers at a very minimum.
Criminal justice expert Adam Walensky believes we should spend $30 billion to create an army of new cops. Not Mark Furman-type cops, he says. College-educated cops looking out for the good people of the inner city.
These neighborhoods are overflowing with people who are desperate for protection, desperate to live an orderly and decent life.
Invest in these kids, particularly after school.
Professor Fox would spend those billions on programs to keep kids busy after school.
40% of juvenile offenses occur between 3 in the afternoon and dinner time. That's when kids are idle, when they have far too much time to kill.
If you're going to bring children into the world, you've got to raise them.
The author, Shelby Steele, says focus on the fathers who abandon children.
If you do not raise them, then the truth of the matter is, if we're really honest about it, there really isn't much anybody else can do.
Is there a way that society can go back to the days where parents felt responsible for the children that they have?
Being an optimist, I would say yes.
Being a realist?
Being a realist, if we're talking about children that are having children, no.
She has long been worried about what's on the corner, but now fears more what's on the horizon. More and more social pain we can skillfully predict, but tragically can't seem to prevent. In New York, Wyatt Andrews for Eye on America.
On the East Coast, in Boston, there is growing concern over what may be a sudden and sharp escalation of gang-related violence. In this case, as correspondent Randall Pinkston reports, it is the killing of a criminal justice official known for prosecuting gang crimes.
The murder of 42-year-old Paul McLaughlin, Boston's lead prosecutor of street gangs, has shaken the law enforcement community from the rank-and-file cop on the beat to the state attorney general's office.
The general assumption is, look, prosecutors have their job and it's making the justice system work, but they're immune from the retaliation.
Minutes after leaving a train station as he prepared to drive home, police say McLaughlin was shot in the head at close range. No words, no warning. Assigned to a special state and local task force, McLaughlin had convicted 98 out of 134 defendants, leading to speculation that his murder was retaliation.
We have not ruled out any motives, but we also have not ruled out the possibility that Paul was killed because he was an assistant attorney general.
The suspect in McLaughlin's murder is described as a black male teen wearing a hood and baggy pants. African-American leaders, remembering the 1989 Charles Stewart case in Boston, where a black man was falsely accused of murder, warn against a rush to judgment.
We are still healing from the racial polarization that resulted, and we do not want to see this city take a step backward.
The irony here is that Paul McLaughlin was a white Irish Catholic guy from West Roxbury, and he chose to have an impact in the poor and minority community.
This is one of the communities where McLaughlin's work made a difference. He headed a strong new anti-gang program in the high-crime Boston neighborhood of Dorchester, where working-class Americans like Anna Rosa struggle to protect their homes and businesses.
I've seen a big change in the neighborhood. Streets are safe. That people don't have to be scared to come out of their house and go to their corner store.
The murder has apparently not scared off prosecutors. To the contrary, some of McLaughlin's colleagues are volunteering to take over his projects while they prepare to pay their last respects. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, Boston.
Volume of drug traffic across the border is a sore point in U.S. relations with Mexico. Another is the danger to U.S. drug agents who tried to stop that traffic. Terry Drinkwater reports. DEA agent Bill Ramos was murdered New Year's Eve near the Texas-Mexican border in a drug bust gone bad. The suspect, a Mexican national, grabbed the agent's gun and shot him.
They're more organized. They're like corporate structures now instead of fly-by-night, individual one-time lone wolf dope peddlers.
Ramos, 30, is survived by a wife and 2 daughters. His funeral mass is tonight. He was the first DEA agent killed in the line of duty since Enrique Camarena was tortured and beaten to death in Mexico in 1985. In the nearly 2 years since, no one has been brought to trial for Camarena's murder. And that infuriates U.S. authorities who accuse Mexico of a cover-up of police involvement.
we don't see any real progress being made at all. And it's certainly frustrating for the DEA agents who are there on a daily basis putting their lives on the line to help not only the United States but Mexico solve the drug problem.
But some progress in the case has been made on this side of the border. On a tip from a DEA informant, Mexican national Jesus Felix Gutierrez was arrested in Los Angeles on narcotics charges. He had entered the U.S. illegally over the holidays. In court documents filed here, Gutierrez is accused of aiding the main suspect in Camarena's murder. He is now in a Mexican jail, but with no trial date set. So all the DEA can do is arrest suspects once they cross into this country. If we're lucky, one agent told CBS News, one of those we grab will cooperate and testify. Terry Drinkwater, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Focus this evening, the new gold rush out west these days. This one in search of a treasure just as small but of greater value. The components that make computers work are now so valuable that the companies that make them are being targeted by armed robbers. NBC's Noah Nelson has our report.
California's Silicon Valley, one of the most fertile places on Earth for produce and more. This is also the cradle of computer technology and fertile ground for a new kind of crime. In the last 18 months, ruthless, highly organized gangs, primarily Vietnamese, have terrorized Silicon Valley. Their targets, computer firms that produce the expensive high-tech materials that run the world's computers.
Were they able to hurt any of your employees? I opened the door, then they used guns to hit me, used
That's
my
a
arm, here, and also my head.
At another plant, nearly 2 years ago, this manufacturing worker was shot. But there have been more than 50 commando-style raids by gangs this year, beating and shooting employees while stealing tens of millions of dollars in computer parts.
When have you ever been afraid?
When I was on graveyard, because I figured it's the graveyard. Everyone always hits at night when they rob somebody.
The bandits have pulled off many bold daytime raids. One company, Pyceon Computers, has lost more than $1 million this year from burglaries and robberies.
If they were to come to this door right now, what would we do?
Well, there would be two people. You would hit panic buttons and the police would be there. What we do, we'd put our hands up because they're all armed, they're carrying guns, but
we're at the mercy of whatever happens.
We're at the mercy of whatever happens.
This is what the thieves are after: memory chips, disk drives, and components smaller than a postage stamp that on the world market are as valuable as precious gems. Most have no serial numbers, so they're almost untraceable.
It's cleaner than stealing narcotics, for instance, and they know if they can get this stuff, they can get rid of it very quickly and make a lot of money very quickly. This computer board is worth $25,000. A row of 10, $250,000. On this one shelf alone is easily $1 million worth of merchandise that could fit into a suitcase.
Okay, the bodyguard is near the table. Let's go.
Bandits, like those on this police surveillance tape, know they'll have no problem finding black market buyers of stolen goods.
The tip and pretty tip is worth more than gold. So you risk your life for the money.
This one-time Vietnamese gang member says the underground market is thriving.
The robbery happened because somebody ordered the merchandise. The guy knew that he robbed the place. The merchandise that will sell, 100% will sell.
We've definitely seen collusion and coordination of activities between cities in the United States. We're investigating heavily whether there might be some foreign direction.
This is the stuff.
A five-fold increase in the number of high-tech crimes in the last 18 months has pitted international gangs against local police.
This with the IBM.
The San Jose, California Police Department has only 2 detectives assigned to high-tech robberies. Doug Zwimke and Tang Lee say they're up against crooks who have informants planted inside of companies to help them plan their jobs, like jewel heists.
These robberies are never random. You just don't slide into this little electronics place here off to the left and say, hey, we're going to rob it. Well, you're not going to do a robbery unless you know what you're going to get from all the effort.
Many companies have beefed up their own security measures with hidden cameras and tighter personnel screening of employees. But Silicon Valley firms are still losing up to $1 million a week to high-tech crime.
And if something isn't done working together with law enforcement and the electronics community itself, this is going to threaten to unravel the economic fabric that makes the Silicon Valley what it is.
Although Silicon Valley still looks like a cluster of college campuses, it now has big city concerns about its safety and security. Noah Nelson, NBC News, San Jose, California.